So to begin things off, like, what is the team idea on choosing Warcraft 3 instead of Warcraft 1 or some Diablo game? Or...
Sure. So we, when we started Classic, we actually started out with StarCraft to remaster that, and we really cut our teeth on what was involved in remastering an RTS, as it were. And so it felt like a logical extension to then immediately go and start working on Warcraft 3. There's just so many opportunities that exist in the game itself, and then we could take all those learnings from what we did with StarCraft Remastered and directly apply them into Warcraft 3.
So another point that a lot of people are like, oh, really excited about is this will be like the same experience as Warcraft 3, or are they going to be expanded content? It's going to be like extra campaigns, or...
So right now we're laser focused on bringing Warcraft 3 forward into today's graphical state, today's gameplay state, and that is a pretty monumental task. I mean, we didn't get too much into the details during the presentation this morning, but one of the things that folks would be, I think, interested to know is the original version of Warcraft 3 will still basically be compatible with the Reforged version, and that includes also the maps that have come out of the custom mod community over the years. The idea there is we're starting from the original version of Warcraft 3, and we're evolving it, right? We're adding on all the graphics, we're adding in the new mechanics from a campaign standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint, but we are rooted in what made Warcraft 3 great to begin with. And maybe Skip wants to talk a little bit about...
Yeah, and we're also looking at certain systems like around the game. So for multiplayer, we're exploring how to do like the ranking system. Because the old one had a few different ways they did ranking, and it was mostly just sheer levels.
Yes.
You had your level, and it goes up. And we're currently exploring how some of our more modern ones have done it, where they have like what kind of ranking would that work. We're looking into, but we want to maintain parity with some of the old systems, so we're looking at like automated tournaments, which was like a big part. I used to play those all the time. And so we're looking at those and seeing like, are there areas we can modernize? But we also want to make sure we don't take away like what made them special, because there is a feeling that you get when you play like the tournament system. It's like, yes, this is a Warcraft 3 tournament. I know what it's like.
It's that 1v1 Wednesday tournament.
Yeah. Those are... Oh man, those are so fun.
Yeah, that ties in third most F topic, which is like, so you asked the map editor would be like compatible with Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
So does that mean I can like pick my map I had from Warcraft 3 and import into Reforged?
So the way it's supposed to work, and we're not done yet.
We're not done.
Okay.
But for the most part, the way that it should work is if the maps existed before, they'll just automatically load up and work.
Oh.
Now, I'm going to caveat that to say there's a lot of maps out there in the world, right? Like, there's a lot. So we're going to get hopefully all of them, and if we don't get all of them, we're going to get a whole bunch of them. The other thing that we're going to be doing is we are investing more and more in the world editor. We actually have hired some folks from within the community that are very familiar with making additional content, have been actually actively evolving it through add-ons and so forth. So we brought them in to basically help us build this with the intent of then going back out and giving that world editor and those enhancements back into the community. And we've been working on that over the past couple of years with some incremental patches to Warcraft 3. But as we go further with Reforged, more tools will be available.
Yeah, we're trying to like kind of look at areas where the community had roadblocks that they sort of ran into, and see where can we unblock it with this whole Reforged thing. And so part of it is like asking them. It's just flat. There's always flat asking like what's going on, and as well as observations of like, oh, how are they doing these things?
Yeah, because the first thing, like, as the presentation was over at the opening ceremony, people were like, "Oh, will I be able to play tower defense, or will I be able to play like the orcs versus humans?" And we're like,
there's a lot of
frenzy.
there's a lot of cool like subgenres that came out, and just full genres that really spawned from it. And part of why we want to start from this place of known good and evolve it is we don't want to lose any of that. Like that's 15, 16 years of new ways to engage as a player.
Yeah.
And you've got all these great tools that you know how to use, and we're going to evolve those as well so that you can create even better experiences.
Wow. That's really exciting to hear. So, question about gameplay. You said the team was laser focused on recreating the Warcraft 3 experience, but ever since we've had a lot of improvements in StarCraft, like select all units, or a lot of things that didn't happen in Warcraft 3, are those features gonna make an appearance in Reforged, or?
I think those are gonna be the kinds of things we're gonna have a lot of dialogue about. Because, as we saw in StarCraft Remastered, a lot of it was, this is what makes the game great. This is how it is. Yeah. We accept it. This is what we want.
Don't break the game.
Don't break the game. That's a saying. Man. Don't break it. And so with Warcraft 3, we've already reached out a bit to the really high level players and people who've been playing all this time, and they're receptive to the idea of balance changes.
Okay.
That's like numerics. That's different than full-on gameplay. So that's still that's still up in the air.
It's very much like tread cautiously.
Yeah.
Right. We are interested in evolving the game. Right. But to Skip's point, right? Like what made the game great is something that we need to make sure we don't break.
Yeah.
Right. And so that is we're going to be very deliberate about any potential changes. And we're going to have an active dialogue with our community in the process.
That's amazing to hear. So, let's see here. Ever since Warcraft 3 was launched, there were a lot of retcons to what happened in the campaign. Like, for example, the Draenei in Outland, they ended up looking like broken and not like the Lost Ones has happened. Are those retcons going to be implemented in Warcraft the Reforged, or are they going to keep the same version as the original Warcraft 3?
So I guess that's another area where we're doing a lot of dialogue right now. But in general, we do want to bring it a bit more in line with World of Warcraft. But again, there is parts of what makes Warcraft 3 Warcraft 3.
Yeah, I think a great example where it's been okay has been like in the demo that's available for folks here at BlizzCon today, right? Like we did the Cullen Stratholme and the original level design and so forth. Like that is not the Stratholme that you recognize, right? There was a zoo. There were dolphins, statues. And you started the campaign, the mission, in the upper right-hand corner, and you actually entered like Stratholme to the back. And the folks, like the team, said, no, we got to make this feel like you're going in to raise the city. Like you basically want to, take the town on folks. Start from the front of it and have people walk up and over the bridge so that it feels like Stratholme as you're coming in. Now, we also kind of got rid of the zoo because there was no zoo. There is no zoo. But the campaign itself, the mission itself still feels like it is Stratholme. It's not radically divorced from what the original experience was.
Yeah, I always had I think Stratholme was one of the first maps I failed in a campaign. I always have in mind, like, oh. Yeah. So when you said Stratholme was a demo, I was like so excited.
Yeah, it's just kind of a pain.
Yes.
You got it. When you have a chance to play it, you have to play it. Don't play it on the normal. Play it on the hard.
Hard is noticeably harder.
And it is not easy, but it's worth it. It is worth it.
Into another question then about difficulty. Were there any AI improvements that were worked on, or are there plans to add more AI?
we're going to take a look at stuff like that. Again, that falls in that category of we want to start from a place of known good, right?
Yeah.
The things that made the game great is the game, right? The game that has been there. And so as we start sort of peeling back the layers of the onion, so to speak, we want to tread cautiously, right? First rule, don't break the game. And so every decision that we make is rooted in that principle of like, we don't want to break this game.
Let's see if I have any other questions here. So, way in the future beyond, is the team willing to like add more, like even DLCs or expansions to the gameplay with different campaigns once the whole package is like?
How far in the future are we thinking?
Because people, a lot of people is claiming like Warcraft 1 DLC, Warcraft 2 DLC, or between Warcraft 2. So it's like, I think the community just wants to know is how far does Reforged go?
I think it's fair to say, like we got our hands full right now, just getting everything that we want in for Warcraft 3, making sure that we're doing the right service for our community and for our fans and for the players out there. I can't tell you what the future is going to hold on some of these pieces, but I do know that Warcraft 3 is an amazing game. With a ton of additional content just out of the box because of the great community that has developed all these wonderful maps and all these great new ways to engage with the campaign.
Let's see. I was reading on the site it mentioned the Frozen Throne will be included, so you have like all the eight original campaigns. I imagine the Orc campaign will also be fully included, because on the box for Frozen Throne only had like the first campaign and it had download the rest, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah. The founding.
No, Durotar.
Yeah, the founding.
Yes.
Yeah, the way it worked was the other two missions you downloaded them through a patch. Like they didn't show up on the disc originally.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good memory, man.
Yeah.
I was just talking about it with somebody the other day, and I was like, oh yeah. Well, those two was like, well, they were part of the campaign, so yeah.
It's funny because that's one of the things that's so joyous about actually having the opportunity to go back and look at this is not just the process of reforging it, but the journey for the team and just some of the interesting anecdotes. Like we all came from different places in terms of when we engaged with Warcraft 3. And you were saying earlier you were in high school.
Yeah, I was in high school. It's like
and
I played all the like ranked ladder and stuff after beating all the campaigns.
Yeah, so I mean, and Pete, it was the same. He came to really want to be in the industry because of the game, and that was his real mission in life was to become a game developer, all from Warcraft. And I just kind of feel like an old guy because like I remember working on this thing. But our goal with the campaign missions and so forth is really to give you the entire Warcraft 3 experience all in one single atomic unit, right? Like not having one version and then the expansion and so forth. We want to preserve that compatibility with the existing versions of the game so that people can play against one another, whether you have the old or the new.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like with StarCraft Remastered, right? We want to make sure that individuals have the ability to come along, right, with the rest of their friends.
It's really exciting to hear. The full compatibility is like, and a lot of people are also asking like, oh, we'll have a discount if I have the Frozen Throne already. One of them. And then I think with this answer, it's like, you don't need to, because you can play with one another. So I think that ties in, so there'll still be updates for the original game once Remastered comes out.
Remember, I mean, in many ways, the original game is the foundation, right? Like the engine itself, the way in which the units behave, the AI, all of that is the original. And then we add into its, making, again, deliberate decisions about how we do that. The graphics, the UI, and so forth, those all get leveled up and reforged. But that compatibility is a bit of our lodestar, right? That's what helps keep us in check in terms of the changes that we're making. It also lets us, just like we've been doing, really for the past 18 months to 2 years, adding in incremental patches to do things like, update balance on certain units and really kind of tiptoe into the changes that we can make and that we feel good about making, so that the players are again coming along for that journey with us.
Yeah, I've seen the patch notes for the last couple of months, and they're like small little tweaks, like +1 intellect, +1 agility. Let's see how the water's felt there. And I was actually really excited when I saw the first patch notes about it. So talking about using the same engine for Reforged and Frozen Throne, so what are the difficulties working on it? Like, how do you pick this old engine, maybe 16 years old, and you add like all this, the BattleNet support, and you add these new graphics and more options? How was it path for you guys?
Well, it's quite a big task for our heroic engineers, but it's coming along. We've been doing these new patches, like we've been bringing things into the game already. We've been looking into like where areas we can already improve the editor compared to now, and because that is with the old engine, it'll carry through with the new Reforged game. Yeah,
and even examples like. One of our recent patches in Warcraft 3, we added widescreen support, like native widescreen support. So there's no longer like stretched bodies and faces and what have you. It's like the proportions are all of the original proportions in the game. Those are some of those modern conveniences that we can add in, and it's helping our engineers even get comfortable with working on some of this stuff. Because remember, this is like 16-year-old technology that we're modernizing and bringing to 2018 technology. So it's kind of like this infusion of almost like two different generations of engineering like philosophy and design and whatnot. We're fortunate that Blizzard has a lot of amazing engineering talent, and some of the folks have been with us really from the beginning. And so one of our lead engineers, he's actually he was the original developer for the engine for Warcraft 3. And so he said, "Yep, we're going to bring that guy onto this project."
You're coming around.
He knows exactly where all the bodies are hidden.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing to hear, like, that you guys are recreating the story. So even people that nowadays maybe look at the game like, it looks kind of mad, and now they're going to have this chance to experience all the... Like, Warcraft 3 was like one of my first Blizzard games, if not the first one that I played. So when I heard the announcement, I was really excited about it, and I'm really happy that you guys are doing that.
Cool, yeah, I mean, and we thought it was just a fantastic way to also help showcase some of the backstory behind a lot of these iconic characters. And not just in the level design in terms of some of the tweaks, but also, if you remember, Warcraft 3 has all these great in-game cinematics, basically, that we're recutting all of them. We're like basically changing the camera angles to give a lot more definition, because these models are so much more detailed now that we're in a position to basically really tell the story the way that we ideally wanted to tell the story 16 years ago. So I forget how many hours. I mean, it's many hours of in-game footage that really is telling a lot of the origin lore. And now the visual fidelity has just been amped up such that it helps to back into the amazing story that has been told.
Yeah, one example I like to point out is whenever characters back in the day would point at something, they use like their whole fist. It's like pointing over there. Now we have fingers, so we can point. That's the HD.
About cinematics, voiceover.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna have like the same voiceover from the old? Not sure what quality you have that you originally started in, or was it all redone for Reforged?
We're gonna make some updates.
Some updates, okay. Because a lot of people are like, no, I don't want new voiceover. They're like, oh god.
Again, these are things with StarCraft Remastered. We learned a lot in terms of like the importance of player choice, the importance of saying, you know what, this is your game as much as we created it. This is your game. We don't want to take away how you enjoy your game. We want to add to it. So these are things that we're not gonna just drop. right? We are adding new languages. We're adding additional support for regions around the world. So there's a lot of like cool stuff that's going to get packaged along with this for the players all around the world.
Wow, it's really exciting to
Cool,
hear.
man. I'm excited.
Well, I think that's it.
Okay.
We talked a lot of stuff to write about. Really excited about it.
Awesome, man.
Thank you so much for the interview.
Looking forward to it, Lucas.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.